Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
President Trump is spending his holiday week in Florida. He's tweeting on health care, tax reform, and Russia. I'm John Schumo in New York, and I'll have the latest.
As we mentioned, our top story for you now right here at 6:30. President Trump spent a good portion of the day yesterday taking a break and golfing at his club in West Palm Beach, Florida.
He also did find some time, though, to fire off some tweets, stirring up some of Washington's most fierce debated topics. CBS's John Schumo is in New York and has more.
President Trump took aim on Twitter Tuesday at some of the most polarizing issues facing Capitol Hill. On the Russia investigation, he cited a Fox News report that investigators cannot verify claims made in a dossier circulated over the summer. Compiled by a former British intelligence officer, it contains allegations of Mr. Trump's ties to Moscow.
They're trying to discredit the findings before they come out by pointing to flaws in the process.
President Trump also went after Obamacare, writing in part, "The very unfair and unpopular individual mandate has been terminated as part of our tax cut bill, which essentially repeals over time Obamacare." In the Obamacare enrollment period that ended December 15th, there was a drop of just 4.4% from last year in the 39 states that participate in the federal healthcare.gov marketplace. And according to one nationwide analysis, 62% of the people who enrolled in Obamacare this year live in red states that voted for President Trump in 2016.
By the way, President Trump, in another tweet on the tax cut bill, wrote that it's, quote, will be a great year for companies and jobs. He also predicted continued success for the stock market in 2018. So Matt Elwell now steps in to join us here on this frosty morning, working on the very latest. I know we have some substantial weather headed our direction.
I'm actually working on a photo that I'm going to bring you here when we go out to the Billion Auto Weather Patio. Oh, nice. That's why it was late. Nice. But it is very cold, and we do have winter weather advisories and watches, rather, out for most of the area. We're going to be dealing with that throughout the next day or two. Here's a look at some of the area temperatures into the single digits right now for the Bozeman area, 12 in Butte. We're going to continue to watch things pretty carefully. We are looking at the possibility of some light snow before the end of the day, but the heaviest snow expected later this week. You can see the temperatures back into the mid-20s. We'll talk more in depth about your complete forecast, of course, coming up here in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. Now 6:32 on this Wednesday. Millions of Americans are waking up to freezing temperatures that may stick around all week.
And in New York City, officials are warning the 1 million spectators expected in Times Square on New Year's Eve to bundle up big time. John Schumo has the latest on the Arctic chill hitting much of the country.
Record low temperatures and record high snowfall. Bitter cold from this week's winter blast is being felt in dozens of states.
All I could do was laugh. You know, it's a little ridiculous.
Erie, Pennsylvania shattered the state record with more than 50 inches of snow. Temperatures in Chicago, Illinois hovered around 0 degrees, prompting an effort to get people who are homeless indoors. While some are finding ways to make the frigid fun, first responders are reminding people of the health risks that come from bitter cold.
Anytime that we have an extreme in weather, be it cold or hot, it taxes the EMS system as a whole.
In New York's Times Square, visitors in town to watch the New Year's Eve ball drop say the predicted temperatures for that night in the low teens is not disrupting their plans.
We're here. You have to do it. It doesn't matter if we're freezing and icicles, we'll do it.
Forecasters predict the cold blast will move east and stick around into the beginning of 2018. John Schumo, CBS News, New York.
Now, the National Weather Service says temps during New Year's time celebration will be about 12 degrees. It will feel a lot colder than that, though. The last time New York saw New Year's Eve this cold was about 20 years ago.
Now, we, of course, as Matt has been saying, are experiencing some very cold temperatures of our own this week. Cold temperatures can bring along some dangerous health conditions as well. MTN's Morgan Davies has a few ways you can avoid hypothermia and what to do if you know someone who is experiencing some symptoms.
Temperatures are in the teens and even single digits, which can be dangerous, especially for young children or the elderly.
So anyone who has an increased risk of body heat loss or a failure of ability to recognize their own body temperature is at risk.
Hypothermia can set in quicker than most people think, and if nothing is done to warm the body, it can be fatal.
If a person is sleepy, altered, or confused, or they have signs of frostbite, they need to come to the emergency department.
But there are ways to avoid getting dangerously cold.
It's very important to dress to the weather and to keep an eye on kids and keep a good awareness of what's going on with yourself. If you feel or you notice that someone is becoming slowed down, withdrawn, a little bit confused, a little less talkative, is not acting like their normal self, that's a danger sign.
Finally, make sure you're moving when outside in these cold temperatures. Even just shivering is helpful as that keeps the body warm. In Bozeman, Morgan Davies, MTN News.
Now, Dr. Kuhl also adds there is no set time for how long it takes hypothermia to set in. That's why it's important to pay attention to children and your own body temperature.
And the number of residents on Bozeman's south side went without power for several hours last night. According to Butch Larcombe with Northwestern Energy, 397 customers went without power. It initially started without the service at about 8 p.m. on Wednesday. The outage was caused by a bad underground line.
In court news, a Bozeman woman appeared in Gallatin County Justice Court yesterday morning on a felony charge of intimidation. 46-year-old Heidi Craig, a registered violent offender, was in custody for making verbal threats against police officers and their families. Last Saturday, officers responded to a report of a domestic situation involving a man and a woman arguing outside the Super 8 hotel in Bozeman. On the way to the detention center, Craig made threats to the officers and their families. She reportedly continuing threatened the officers and their families as she was booked into the detention center. Her bail has been set at $25,000. Also appearing in Justice Court yesterday, 34-year-old Cameron Wilson, that's him there on your screen, of Utah. He was arrested following an attempt to elude law enforcement. According to charging documents, Montana Highway Patrol trooper initiated a traffic stop on a vehicle traveling northbound on North 19th Avenue in Bozeman with no license plates displayed. Wilson allegedly accelerated the car, then crashed into two other vehicles. His bond has been set at $10,000.
And now that the tax reform bill has been finalized, analysts are looking at what the new law will mean for Montana citizens. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian takes a closer look at the potential impacts to taxpayers in the state and as well as the state's budget.
Since Congress released the final version of its tax reform plan, the State Department of Revenue has been working to apply it to Montana.
We're trying to determine what the fiscal impacts to the state of Montana and to Montana taxpayers are.
The department estimates more than 3/4 of households in the state will see a federal tax cut of at least $50 a year. 20% will see a smaller change, while 1.5% will have to pay at least $50 more. For people making $20,000 to $64,000 a year, the average tax cut will be around $943.
The bottom line here is almost $750 million will now stay in Montana and stay in the economy here. So we're excited about what that will mean in increased economic activity.
Revenue Department Director Mike Cadis also released a memo outlining the new law's possible effects on the state budget. He says Montana could lose $29 million in individual income tax and $17 million in corporate tax during the 2018 tax year. Montana Chamber of Commerce President Webb Brown says it's something his group has been thinking about.
We're concerned about that, having just come through a special session, but we believe in the long run this is beneficial, and so now we need to get to work on how we can make the adjustments in Montana.
Cadis says the Revenue Department has only begun its analysis of the tax bill's effects.
You know, it's a 500-page bill that fits into several thousand pages of code. I think everything that you see now is preliminary, and we have to have time to kind of work through all the details of it.
In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Now, the Revenue Department's estimates are based on the calendar year. The governor's budget office will make its own determination of what the changes mean for the state's financial picture, which is based on the fiscal year from July to June.
In other news this morning, egg freezing is a fertility technique that has been around for decades, but now some clinics are using a posh way to help women take control of their family planning. CBS's Danielle Nottingham reports from Beverly Hills.
At an upscale hotel in Beverly Hills, a group of women are sipping wine over a topic some consider taboo: fertility.
It's stunning. I was totally taken aback. I mean, it's really gorgeous, such a luxury environment.
Women like Eugenia Rayner are attending these free cocktail events to learn how to freeze their eggs or embryos to delay motherhood until the time is right.
Now that I'm 33 and I'm single, my timeline's all shifted and I don't know when I'm going to meet that person.
So there is a loss of eggs, and this is normal and it happens in all women.
These egg freezing parties target women in their early to mid-30s when egg quality is ideal, giving women a better chance of getting pregnant later on.
As women get older, above age of 30, it becomes harder to become pregnant. It's mid-30s to late 30s, it's even harder.
Dr. Lena Akopian says as egg freezing has become more widely available in recent years, more women are choosing the procedure.
We've had 5-fold increase in number of patients across the United States that come in to do egg freezing for elective reasons.
Eugenia says the process is a little nerve-wracking, but discussing options in an open setting put her at ease.
It makes it fun and instead of just a sterile medical environment.
She's grateful to have options so she can start a family when she's ready. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, Beverly Hills.
Oh, what an interesting story.
Fantastic. By the way, it's important to note egg freezing costs between $7,000 to $10,000, and of course hundreds more to store those eggs or embryos. So it is not a cheap thing to be involved in.
No, not whatsoever.
Really interesting.
Interesting.
Fascinating.
Make it a
technology.
fun party, huh?
Good technology.
Let's do it. Stay with us. Coming up after a quick break, an incredible story out of Utah. Wow, a little boy was pulled from an icy pond on Christmas night, chasing his dog into the water. His current condition, that's just ahead.
But first, here's Biana Galadraga.
This morning, CIA insider Michael Morell says Russian cyber attacks on social media are being used to weaken the country. He joins us with what he thinks the U.S. needs to do to stop it. And Kennedy Center honoree Lionel Richie, how the performer turned a plan to meet girls into a legendary career. What a performer he is. We're going to see you coming up at 7.